Hey, this is Jimmy Ether, and today I'm going to be doing a review of the CAD M179 microphone. I just got a pair of them, and we're going to test them out. So I don't normally do gear reviews, but I got a pair of these little CAD M179s recently, and for the money, man, a great mic. And the reason I'm posting this is because I think every little project studio should grab a pair of these, or would be indispensable, especially if you don't have a big mic collection, because they're extremely versatile. You have a pattern selection from Omnidirectional all the way, you probably can't see this, but all the way to figure 8. And one of my favorite things in the world is a Blumlein pattern. Maybe I'm mispronouncing that, but I've always called it Blumlein pattern. But we use 2 figure 8s as a pair and put them at, perpendicular axes. But yeah, I paid like 125 bucks each for these shipped. So as you'll see, I used them as a stereo pair on a about 10 feet back on a session with drums and guitar, or at least you'll hear that. And then you'll see I'm going to do a little demo with the acoustic guitar and vocals, showing you how each pattern varies. But it's very nicely constructed, anodized metal, looks great, feels great, heavy. It's not cheaply done at all for a Chinese mic. Comes with a nice cradle, and also I guess you would use this if you're going to mic toms and you just don't have enough room for all the extra cradle mess. But both of these lock onto the bottom of the shaft, so it's very sturdy. A little heavy, so you do want to have a good mic stand. And it comes with this ridiculously oversized protective case as well. So for the money, I don't see how they're pulling it off. The price point, I can't think of a mic that I would recommend similarly for less than 800 bucks. So yeah, I can't quite see what's going on with that, but I hope that they hold out over time. I hope they maintain their sound and quality and don't crap out over time like sometimes mics can do that are cheaply designed. But actually, I think this one's going to be a good mic for the long haul. So here's the demo. So yesterday I did a session with the Big Rag Goo, which is myself on drums and my friend Sean, at least in this case, on guitar. And we used the CADs as a Blumlein pair in the room about 10 feet back from the setup we had with the drums and guitar. With the top mic pointing stage right at the Blues Junior, and then the stage left mic pointing at the far edge of the floor tom. So here it is mixed in with all of the other mics. And here we'll solo the CADs themselves. And this is with no compression EQ limiting or anything, not even board EQ. Just simply the Toft ATB series console pre's, which are nice and neutral and warm, but not anything special. It's not like we're going through a tube box of any kind. And then again mixed in with the full band. I'll solo them again during these tom parts so you can you notice it's a pretty nice flat presentation for this far back from everything. Not a lot of brittle highs like you normally hear in a condenser. And it does a really good job of kind of filling out the stereo here. Here's the without the CADs. And that's with. Really lends a lot of natural character of the room into the mix without any need for additional, outboard reverb or delay or anything like that. And this is a, being a figure 8 pair, if I'd gone with a omnidirectional pair or some combination of the two, we would have had a totally different character, gotten a lot more of the room and an even more flat appearance to the frequency spectrum. Okay, so now I am going to try a little acoustic guitar and vocals, just a demo real quick, using the same pair set up the exact same way as we had it before with the drum and guitar session, but this time up close with vocals and guitar, and you can hear it's still a figure 8 pattern. I'm getting up close and I'm getting that kind of chesty proximity boost, which is as is expected with figure 8 mics, figure 8 settings. I will take you down to the battlefield. Well, I will take you down to the battlefield, bloody up your eyes with the sight. So a lot of low end, real broad stereo spectrum, and you can hear very clearly when I move from side to side, and even with something like a guitar you can really hear it kind of moving back and forth. So if we change the settings on these mics, and let's go the exact opposite direction and go with the full omnidirectional settings. So you get a lot more room when you do that, but you don't get any of the proximity boost. You can get real close up on the mic and get a real crystal clear kind of vocal. But yeah, in this case, you do get a lot of room, and I've got a very live sounding room, so it may or may not be what you want for that particular session. But that's the versatility of these mics. What's cool about having the consistently variable pattern is you can dial that in until things are just right. So in this case, we'll play the same bit. Well, I will take you down to the battlefield. Well, I will take you down to the battlefield, bloody up your eyes with the sight. All right, let's try some combinations of the two. This is can sometimes be pretty interesting. We'll keep one in omnidirectional, this top one, which I'm kind of treating as my main vocal mic. I'll kind of get a little bit off axis with it and get up close to it. The other one, we're really focusing on the guitar here, so I can really move it around to where I think it sounds best without that. So we get rid of that proximity boost on that. Okay, so we'll go. Well, I will take you down to the battlefield. Well, I will take you down to the battlefield, bloody up your eyes with the sight. So that's like a really interesting combination to be able to have that kind of directionality with a figure 8 pattern on the guitar, but have a really kind of open sound with the voice. Now here, if we want to go kind of to the midpoint of the spectrum here, and that there, and at the midpoint it kind of does lock in. You have to kind of play around with these. But this would be just a straight cardioid condenser pair. And you know, you don't get as much of a stereo spread as you would, but you can hear me kind of going back and forth. You don't get as much of a spread as you would with a figure 8, but you get more than you would with an Omni, so it's nice in between. And there's not as much of the room sound in it. It's much more of a directional, facing me this way kind of thing. Well, I will take you down to the battlefield. Well, I will take you down to the battlefield, bloody up your eyes with the sight. So, and then you have plenty of stages in between, hypercardioid, and let's try one of those just for the heck of it. But it's you know, I'm not usually real fond of hypercardioids, but the cool thing about having this variable setting is when you're recording a lot of instruments at the same time, a lot of band members in one place, having that kind of variable control over a mic is really crucial. Sometimes, especially with a condenser that's really sensitive, so that you can kind of, without having too much isolation and baffling, sort of curtail how much other things are bleeding into the mic, into the source that you're actually trying to get, without it being too, you know, getting too close mic'd. Like, you know, a lot of people tend to mic amps a little too close sometimes when they sound a little bit better off maybe 2 feet or so, and you really don't get much bleed anyway with a loud amp that way, but especially when you have the ability to dial in on the source and really kind of focus where the rejection points of the mic are. So this would be the hypercardioid setting between the two. Check, 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 check. Much more directionality, but you get a little bit of that chesty bump like you would with a figure 8 too. Well, I will take you down to the battlefield. Well, I will take you down to the battlefield, bloody up your eyes with the sight. This is a very bassy acoustic guitar, by the way, with a weird low string tuning that I use, and custom strings and all. So it has a lot of bass in these microphones when you're up close, and that translates well when you're back a little further. So I think these actually would be very interesting as like either mics on a bass cabinet, or possibly even a stereo pair on a bass cabinet might be cool. So that's one of the things I'm going to probably try out soonish as well. But you know, for the price, God, you just can't pass these up. $125 a piece is what I pay basically, shipped. So yeah, CAD M179s, good mics.